Alright guys, we're going to do our own upload on the Shroud of Turin. As you know, it's all in the numbers. So Yar's just going to sit here looking very shroudy today. It's Easter Saturday and things have gone quiet in Rome. It's in the early hours of the morning. They're having a quiet time before the airing of the televised program. It's the first time in, what they say, 30 years, television cameras have gone in on the 3rd of March to photograph, televise,
But what
capture.
will be notable, I will be sacking Francis.
Yes, absolutely. Watch
He's
Francis.
thrown out the devil, let's go.
Now, Francis learned 1 week ago that the Christ was back. He rejected it then. He was actually horrified.
This is from Emeritus, Pope Benedict. Now, he's still the Pope. I just renamed him. He's now Pope Peter II. The church started with Peter and it ends with Peter.
And of course, the Holy Shroud of Turin has been a personal icon that Pope Peter has held very close to him, so it's just fitting that he would be the one in receiving this photograph, and this was the one that just transfixed him, and he said he was flooded with the love and compassion of God. It really shook him up. Not so Francis. Francis just completely rejected. He is totally antichrist. He does not have the Spirit of God within him. If you look at his eyes, they're totally black. Versus the lovely blue.
So the conclave was illegal. The cardinals were aware
Yes.
of the same information that Pope Benedict had.
Yes. The information
And therefore it makes it illegal, because it should be at least considered before the conclave, because at the end of the conclave you're electing a pope that doesn't believe in what Pope Benedict believes. So Pope Benedict set it down, he believed it, therefore no pope can change it. But this pope did, Francis, so he's out of here. Right.
Okay, now the Shroud of Turin, what's it all about? The shroud is the burial cloth of Jesus. It was laid out in the tomb. The body of Jesus had been taken down from the cross after rigor mortis had occurred. It was placed on the shroud, it being 171 inches long by 39.5 inches wide. And then a face cloth bound the jaw shut. It was 171 inches by 3.5 inches wide. When the effects of rigor mortis subside, the muscles relax and the jaw opens. The face cloth bound round the head keeps the jaw closed. The body image on the larger cloth is a crucified man. His teeth had been knocked out, leaving 7 teeth on the lower jaw, hence the urgency of the face cloth. Now that's to do with a lamb has
Lamb has
7
7
teeth.
teeth on the
7.
top. No teeth on the top.
When we read the scriptures, Jesus said, "If you have seen me, you have seen the Father." The soul of Jesus then is on the front of the cloth, burned into layers 5 microns deep. So faint, it could be removed by wiping the surface with another cloth. The delicate image has baffled scientists since it was investigated by a team of world experts in the 70 era onward.
Now I'd like to say the reason it's burned on the front of the image, and I
front
think
of the
it's
cloth.
the image that is against the body, at death the soul, Yahweh, left my body and then re-entered into the tomb and went through the front of the cloth into my body to resurrect it. So it went out and then it came back in through the tomb, through the front of the cloth, and the image got burnt on the front of the cross, not on the part. That's why the churches have made a mistake in putting the wound on the sword, the spear, on the right side, when in fact it should be on the left. So you've got to turn it over. That's how you got to.
Now the body image shows an old man emerging from the front with a short moustache and hair, an old man's face of 69, and various scars, bruised cheekbone, head wounds from the crown of thorns, cuts on the forehead and sides of the eyebrows sides of the eyes on the eyebrows. The body does not show any pressure points on the back or the heel of the one foot. Expected on a body laid out on a slab, the image shows the body with the head forward, as it was on the cross. The back rounded, the arms pulled to the groin in a stiffened posture, the hands clammed one on the other. No thumbs seen as the nails penetrated the wrists, causing the thumbs to curl inward as the nerve was crushed, causing the spasm. As the resurrection occurred, the wounds of the flagon, which was a whip with 6 leather straps, each with 2 lead dumbbells that delivered 24 wounds with each impact. The back of the body shows massive flailing of the flesh, with human blood visible. The body is that of a 33-year-old Essene, as the hair is braided down the back, the traditional style of the Essene which Jesus was the leader of. The Essene never cut the hair, drank strong wine, or touched dead bodies, unless in a burial situation, was carried out by the women only. The front confirms that the face is an old man, the soul of Jesus being the Father, with short hair and trimmed moustache, the back of the head and back area, long hair and massive wounds. The nails through the wrists and feet, as well as the wounds on the head from the crown of thorns, is unique. Over the eyes were 2 coins of the era 29 AD. We can read the shroud numbers as the dimensions are now known, the thread used, its thickness, and we can calculate how much thread was used when the weaver manufactured it. Within the cloth are 33 pollen particles, unique to the area around Jerusalem. Now, the threads of the shroud number 169.4 per inch wide and the same height, so that's 169.4 per square inch. This number is Emmanuel, found once in the New Testament, Matthew 1:23, and the verse has a value in Greek of 8,880. We can calculate the larger piece of cloth, it being 171 by 39.5 inches, and the smaller 171 by 3.5 inches. The larger piece, we have the following, 6,754.5 square inches, which is teslim in Hebrew, and it means a phantom, a resemblance, a representative figure. Of course, the figure was Jesus. The word image first mentioned in Genesis. Let us make man and woman in our image. Now, the smaller was the face cloth tied around the jaw to keep the mouth closed after rigor mortis subsided and the mouth would fall open. The area, 171 by 3.5, equals 598.5 square inches, and that is anak, and means distress. 5 is Abba, Father, that is God the Father. Next, we can work out the length of thread in the larger. It works out to be, it's 169.4 plus 169.4 equals 338.8 times the area, and that is 2,288,424.6 inches. That's the length of the thread.
Should point out that all these measurements come out of the Great Pyramid, the altar to the Lord.
Right.
And all the British measurements, when they first kicked off, they didn't know where they come from, but they had the acre, they had the inch, they had the foot, they had the mile, and all of this, of course, comes from the Great Pyramid.
Now, that number, 2288424.6, in the Greek dictionary, 2288, from 2348, is death, deadly death. Of course, it was the death of Jesus. The 4246, presbytes, from the same as 4245, an old man, aged man, old man. So the ghost emerging from the shroud is an old man with short moustache and hair. The rear of the head shows long hair, as Jesus was an Essene and they never cut their hair, while the face of the soul of Jesus, being the Father, is emerging from the front of the shroud.
I should mention too that most scholars do not now. You're going too far.
Well, we've already read that one, that's why we'll go up to here. Yes.
You've just read it?
No, here it is.
2 pieces of cloth meticulously sewn together by the ladies after the body had disappeared. And this technique was rediscovered by the French in about 400 years ago, something like that, after the fire on the 4th of December, and it was damaged in this fire, and pieces had to be meticulously sewn back in. And they were done so accurately that it was indistinguishable.
And that's why everybody thinks it's just one piece. And it took you telling the world, alerting the world that, as usual.
Well, the top skeleton went up to Jew, so what do you expect?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the faith cloth is meticulously sewn to the larger body cloth, and so the length of thread in the face cloth is 202,771.8 inches. So you've got the Hebrew dictionary 2027, slaughter, be slain, slaughter, and of course they slaughtered Jesus. 718 in the Greek dictionary from 719, to join, to woo, to betroth, espouse. The area total is 7,353 square inches, and the thread total length is 2,491,196.4 inches. In the Hebrew dictionary, 2491 from 2490 is pierced, especially to death. Polluted, killed, profane, slain, mad, slew, deadly, wounded. So the message is the image of God, death of an old man. The soul of Jesus is the Father, being the old man. The face cloth is slaughter and espousal, and the 0.5 of this 67454.5 is Abba, the Father. The threads Emmanuel, meaning God with us. So the numbers of the Shroud of Turin describe exactly what happened, that they slaughtered Jesus, whose soul was the Father, Yahweh, Abba, who'd come into hell to live the way, the truth, and the life. The knowledge of reincarnation has actually been removed from the Bible. In my own experience throughout the Christian world, 14 years in the Protestant war, witnessing what it is that they're preaching, teaching, and believing, they do not believe in reincarnation of the soul. However, the facts are that as Jesus, he spoke plainly about reincarnation and making a reference to Job. And when we read Job, it is missing, and likewise Nicodemus had no knowledge of it. Now the following is the verse from the Aramaic Essene Gospel of the Holy 12, pertaining to the questions of Nicodemus, who came in the night, fearing that the Jews would kill him. Now if you remember Yahweh's vision as a child when he was 4 days old at the Catholic convent school, and Mary told him that was the message, Jesus, Jesus, come. And she said, if the Jews find out that we are Essene, they will kill us. Well, of course, that's exactly what Nicodemus, why he stuck around at night time for fear of the Jews. So this is what was really taught about being born again. And a certain rabbi, Nicodemus, came unto him at night for fear of the Jews, and said unto him, how can a man be born again when he is old? Can he enter a second time into his mother's womb and be born again? Jesus answered, verily I say unto you, except a man be born again of flesh and of spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of God. Now what that means is that unless he's reincarnated, born again of the flesh body and of the spirit, the soul that occupies the flesh body, he cannot enter into the kingdom of God, because the kingdom of God is happening now upon the earth at the end of the age, this time now. So unless he's resurrected or reincarnated and walking around on the earth, he can't enter the kingdom of God because it comes to the earth. We enter into it now because the King of Kings, God in the flesh, Emmanuel, is with us and he is in residence. So that's why you have to be born again or reincarnated. You can't enter into the kingdom otherwise, because it's all happening on the earth now. Not a floaty, airy-fairy, out there in the space, heavenly kingdom that, you've got to be a floaty spirit to appreciate. No. The resting place for God is upon the earth. That was the plan from the beginning. Okay, and then he continues, the wind blows where it listeth, and ye hear the sound thereof, but cannot tell whence it cometh or whither it goeth. The light shineth from the east even unto the west, out of the darkness. The sun arises and goes down into darkness again. So it is with man, from the ages unto the ages. When it cometh from the darkness, it is that he hath lived before. And when it goeth down again into darkness, it is that he may rest for a little, and thereafter exist again. So through many changes must ye be made perfect. As it is written in the book of Job, I am a wanderer, changing place after place and house after house, until I come unto the city and mansion which is eternal. Now again, that city and mansion is here on the earth where eternity is lived out. Everlasting life was the promise upon the earth. And the city and the mansion being the dwelling place, the body, housing place of the spirit. And of course, we're talking about the city, which is the holy city, eternal holy city, which is where God lives. Continuing, and Nicodemus said unto him, How can these things be? And Jesus answered and said unto him, Art thou a teacher in Israel, and understand not these things? Verily, we speak that which we do know, and bear witness to that which we have seen, and ye receive not our witness. If I have told you of earthly things, and you believe not, how shall ye believe if I tell you of heavenly things? No man ascendeth into heaven, but he that descended out of heaven, even the Son, daughter of man, which is in heaven. So that's the reference to the Son, daughter, of course, which is the father, mother of the Godhead, son, daughter, and the understanding in the Essene tradition of male and female. Now, the King James Version of the New Testament, omissions become obvious to remove the knowledge from the psyche of the reader. This is what people are reading today throughout the Protestant war and, all churches. And why? They don't get it, and they think that being born again is a spiritual experience where they pray a sinner's prayer and then they're born again into the kingdom of heaven, and that when they die, they'll go off to be a floating spirit forever and ever in a non-existent temporal realm. No, that is a falsehood. There was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. The same came to Jesus at night and said unto him, Rabbi, we know that thou art a teacher come from God, for no man can do these miracles that thou doest, except God be with him. Jesus answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Nicodemus saith unto him, How can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? Jesus answered, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of God. That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Marvel not that I say unto thee, you must be born again. So, he hasn't answered the question. He's left the hearer going, oh, what the hell does this mean? And the Protestant whore uses this to mean that, okay, forgive me, pray the sinner's prayer and you go to heaven, literally. By grace thou art saved, and not about doing anything else other than it's a whoredom, and it is not the truth. Resurrection is the reincarnation of the soul, and is how we all get back here this day now, and is why the Shroud of Turin is the most important religious icon upon the earth. This is what penetrated Benedict XVI as he held it in his hands. He said he could feel the love and compassion of God flow through him as he was regarding it. He held it for 3 days, and he wanted it in a place of honor. And then Father Giuseppe uploaded it as his cover photo to his Facebook page, and that was announcing to the world that the Christ is returned, Salvator Mundi. Of course he is. Pope Francis, on the other hand, completely has denied. He is as black in soul as the ace of spades. He is the biblical beast and the Antichrist. He will not last. He will go into perdition.
Bring that down to the next page.
Oh, so yes, here is another. Sure.
That was done by our people with the shroud overlaying myself.
It's just
That's
shown here on the screen.
Overlaying myself.
It is, and then of course there's this this marvellous one here. Which will scroll down some. Oh, I don't think that one's on there.
It's not on there.
No, it's not on there, so we'll just leave it at that. Okay, so yeah, this is proof positive. The dude walking around, whose image it is the old man in the Shroud of Turin today. Brian Leonard, Go Lightly Marshall. So blatantly obvious. However, only the pure in heart see God. That is the big test. It's the pure in heart who see God. Okay.
The light's coming from the outside through that window. Same as the cloth, and the image is burnt on the outside, bringing the blood stains and all of it. The body was washed clean on the cross during the storm. But that occurred after death, and therefore the blood and the soul went, because the blood is in the soul. So when it was coming back, it was deposited on the outside. That's why the Catholic Church has got the spear, so it's backwards.
Mm.
So, goodbye, Francis.
So long, farewell.